because you chose to be anywhere in this world and you chose to be here on Global Abundance Show with host Zafar and myself, Andrea Mason, your first choice, your global voice, alumna of Les Brown and CEO of Press Play. I am truly here because I am proud of this young gentleman who has taken his life and transformed it into something abundant. He took the mindset of where he was and took those areas of improvement and had skyrocketed and put those pains into purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk and dive deep into different topics, as we have mentioned before, and bring out the essence of authenticity and integrity of what we are experiencing and enduring today. So, to my understanding today, I believe Sir Zafar is going to address some of the topics that we are going to talk today. So, welcome, Zafar, Global Abundance Organization. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you. Thank you so much. My accountability coach, my mentor, my teacher, my guide, Andrea Mason, a global voice and alumni of Les Brown and CEO of Press Play, Plan Life According to You, and the writer of Victim to Victorious and
Yes.
guiding everyone from victim to victorious and like one play at a time, the strategy that you had. Yeah, a development coach and personal certified global motivational speaker, and there is a lot on your credit. Like, I mean, you are changing lives of the people globally. Like, I'm one testimony, and I'm here. You've worked a lot on me. You just rewired my brain, and I was able to unlearn the old self doubts or the disbelief, or and then I could relearn. And through you and through your press play strategy, PLAY, plan life according to you. So I tried, and I did so well. And thank you so much for gracing the show and being abundant. And as always, back to you.
Thank you. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not easy because, as Don Shula, the American NFL legendary coach, who's only had the undefeated season and holds that record right now, the undefeated season in NFL, the National Football League, this is what he says. And I take this to heart. It's the start that stops most people. Think about that. It's the start that stops most people. When we get upset, when we get frustrated, disappointed, at times we feel like we don't want to move forward. We feel like we don't have the energy. What's the purpose? We fail all the time. People are going to judge us. Our closest loved ones are not even our closest cheerleaders. So I'm here to share with you, as Zafar has mentioned, he had the ability, the potential, the essence to be willing to start again. He was on pause. I was on pause. We get on pause because at times we don't know how much more we can take, how much more we can bear of the failures. But if we look at this and we look at faith based or what your belief system is, that brings us to our topic today, which I am so excited to discuss because I have someone, a journey walker and champion that I am working with and coaching, who teaches this about Ikigai. And for those of you who may not know, Ikigai is the Japanese concept of reason for being, finding your purpose, getting into that flow state, and having that ability to have ebb and flow with a gentle movement. And that's what we're talking about today, Ikigai. And I'm actually, after the show, Zafar doesn't know, I'm going to extend my abundance and connect with one of my journey walkers, a true champion, to share more. So Zafar, come back on screen and tell me what has tapped you into this Ikigai mindset that we all talk about, that we all experience, and the mindset, and how that has molded and helped you in your life. What was that experience that has kind of turned on that light in your mind? Back to you.
Okay, thank you so much for giving me chance to express my learning about Ikigai. Ikigai, there are like four circles. The topmost is what you love,
Yes.
and the bottom is the world is ready to pay for, and the right one is what world needs, and
Mhm.
the third one on your left is what are you good at, like, I mean, your passion, your profession, social need, and commercial viability. So when they're these all four circle, when they are intersecting each other, that's the sweet spot, that's called ikigai. Ikigai is Japanese word, and to my belief, it is the first and foremost thing in one's life. I would say the basic human right to know. I mean, everybody must know to know what's ikigai. So I would request you to please go into details. How can one find one's ikigai?
Absolutely. Excellent question. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to preface this. It's not going to happen overnight. I know here in the Western world in America, we want things immediately, that instant gratification, that immediate response. But believe you me, as fast as you can receive it is as fast as you can lose it. And so when we look at the essence of Ikigai, we are finding our purpose. For me, I had to kind of go into what my coach, mentor, kindred spirit, fellow adoptee Les Brown says is called finding your why. Why are you here? Why are you doing what you're doing? What is the passions that are calling you in life? Some may it's the creator, God, your Allah, your faith belief system in religion, or that of your mindset. Others may say it's for my children and the legacy that I want to lead them into. Some may say for stewardship, to give back to people, to be with abundance and share their experiences and their gifts to allow them to stay on track. And some might be just on what we call the vertical plane for revenue, income, and resources. But when you find your purpose, why you're doing what you're doing, that allows you to get in alignment with the steps you need to take. Finding your purpose, you say, well, Andrea, I don't know what my purpose is. Well, let's think about that for a moment. And I remember Zafar and I having a question. We had the discussion some time ago. And I said to him, I said, well, what are people going to you for? Whether it's positive or negative. What are you attracting in your life that people are going to you as the go-to person? And then parallel that and compare that with what you want to do. Because, ladies and gentlemen, when you press play on life, you tend to realize as you're planning life according to you, this whole time someone has been writing your story, whether it be society, your family members, your parents, your ancestors. And so when you really go under the microscope, what makes me happy? What am I good at? What do people come to me for? If I was on the street and talked to a stranger and said, well, my man Zafar, yes, I know him. What is he good at? Or what would you tell me a little bit about him? And I would stand there and say, well, he's a man of abundance. He's a man of abundance that has taken his life and completely did a 180. Why? Not because he had to, because he's found his purpose. He found his purpose that he wanted everyone to live with abundance because they can. They're able, they're capable. And so, ladies and gentlemen, getting back to the root question, this first step in Ikigai is finding your purpose. So take a few moments, reflect with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, go into the elements, into nature, go into your comfort and safe space, and ask yourself, as Les Brown has asked me and others, what would you do every single day in your life that makes you happy, that you would do even if you didn't get paid for it? What would you do in your life every single day that makes you happy, that you would do until you couldn't, even if you weren't getting paid for it? Back to you, Zafar.
Thank you so much. You nailed it. In fact, it's like you can read million books about fragrance, about taste, about great sights or the great music, but until about the feelings of touch. But until unless you taste, you see, you hear them or the things, you may not get to that degree of enjoyment or understanding or appreciation. So what you've said is it's absolutely amazing that first of all you got to pause, stop, it's like sit and reflect and think, where are you going, what do you want. I mean, just, I mean, as you said, I mean, do not follow the noise, but the voice of your heart. Listen to yourself as your strategies of the PLAY. So so that's what I mean. Same is here. My thinking is absolutely same. I've been trying quite a lot. What I mean, the moment I started Global Abundance Organization was like like connecting to people, talking to them, and I have been doing this entire my life, even when I was a kid. So my best friend was my father. After his death, I connected with his friends, and then my teachers, then my mentors, and then I got connected to you like 1.5 year earlier, and we are still connected. And our each time we talk to each other, so our connection getting even stronger. And how one can guess or gauge that how the connection is stronger is simply the degree of connection can only be gauged through someone, is if someone is following your step, someone is like you are an abundant person, you've been victim, but a baby of 11 months, 11 pound, and now you are victorious, and this is amazing, and you've written a book, and you're an abundant person. It's a whole time story, and you've been, I could hear, see, smell, and see, and I can feel Les Brown in your words, in your communication, in wherever you say, whatever you talk. I mean, you talk like him, you speak like him, the wording is like him. So I mean, and I really see a Les Brown in your personality. So that is what you do. You get your ikigai by doing. And Peter de Mendes says it massive transformative purpose. So that massive transformative purpose can only be achieved through doing. Back to you.
Yes, absolutely. And so when we take that identity, I talk about taking your adversities of life and changing their meaning and turning your pain into your purpose. Then, after you identify that, you have the ability to go into that flow state. The greats in the industry of motivation and speaking talk about this, and they say energy flows where focus goes. And so when we talk about following your heart, I look at that as if you look on an EKG or a heart monitor and you look at the pulsations of the heartbeats, one of my affiliates, he is also, I believe he's in Asia. He is called, I believe, I'm going to mess up his name, but I know his first name is Patel. And he talks about this, and he talks about how what happens if you look at your heart rate and it's a straight line. What does that mean? That means you have crossed over, flatlined in the medical terms. So when we look at our frequency, when we look at our energy, be cognizant of that. Find individuals who celebrate you as opposed to tolerate you. Find individuals that are going to lift you up that rather than hold you back. And that doesn't mean that you have to absolutely absorb their energy completely. It's adapting and adapting to those opportunities that are made available to you and customizing them to fit into your life. I believe leading from the back. What does that mean? I believe that I have conversations, and I love that you said this, Zafar, relationships with people first, as opposed to connecting on a logistic level. Why? Because if we talked up to individuals on just what we wanted or what we were looking for or aiming, there's no backstory, there's no understanding, there's no connectivity, relativity to allow individuals to say, hey, the reason I'm reaching out to you, the reason I'm connecting you is because of this. And when we flow into that appreciation, the gratitude attitude, the frequency of abundance, understanding that what we have, if not shared, is truly being selfish. So we have to take that ebb and flow and that act of selflessness and realize we're here for a reason. Some individuals are for a season, and it is our time to take the initiative to go with the flow. There's an American, or English, I believe, nursery rhyme that is sung into children when they are younger, and you may have heard of it. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 for life is but a dream. And you hear that sing-song's melody, but if you pay attention to the lyrics, why would you go upstream? Why would you go against the stream? Life has mishaps, of course. Passing of my mother was one, as Zafar's father. Being ill, separating from individuals in your life for whatever reason, by choice, by self-protection, or other states. But if we understand it, Steve Jobs talks about connecting the dots backwards to understand why things have happened. So when we talk about Ikigai and you find your purpose, you find your calling, you say, I've been there, I've done that. This is how I want to give back and help and be abundant to others. Let it flow naturally. I'm in the process of going to level Play 2.0. It's a next version of Press Play, Plan Life According to You. And what I'm realizing is that I don't have to do it all. What I'm realizing is that I have something of value that I can share with the world, but I can delegate and share that joy with others. And to your point, Zafar, that's what you are doing and have been doing. If you could come on screen, I remember when we talked about starting Global Abundance Organization, I remember you saying, I'm going to reach out to people regardless of their stature, and I would just want to connect with people. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a living testimony, an example, going against the grain, but with the flow of intention. Back to you.
Thank you so much. And you've been the driving force always, and you are, and I still look forward. Lot more things coming from your end also. Sure, yes, I did, and still, I mean, I could reach more than 400 people on my pod, so that's a great number, and I am looking forward to 600 more, and then I'll be starting my podcast. I mean, still, I mean, it's a learning phase. That I mean, I think 1,000 podcasts are for the learning. By but my question here, since you're gracing the show, and I like to take the opportunity about the personal freedom
Hmm.
and how can one achieve personal freedom so that one can find one's ikigai through unpacking PLAY framework of your company. You are the founder and CEO of Play LLC. So what PLAY framework plays the role for freeing oneself so that
Yes,
one can find one's ikigai.
excellent question. Excellent question. To achieve personal freedom, I found for me was through the healing power of forgiveness. We have been around this world so many times that we don't focus on the achievements, the amazing people that we come into our lives, but we're still holding on to the pain. We're still holding the grudges to those who've done us wrong. And what happens, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are prisoners of our own mindset. Personal freedom looks like having the confidence and competency of allowing yourself to be okay with the decisions you've made, to love the losses you've experienced, and to love unconditionally. In Ikigai, we talk about gentle movement, allowing ourselves to stay active, even if it's the most simplest acts. As one of the authors talks about, an simple message and task of making your bed every day. I woke up, I prayed, I'm grateful, and I made my bed. So at the end of the day, you come back into your bedroom, into a clean setting, a comfortable bed where you're able to lie your head upon. And it's about mindful eating, also another step in Ikigai, allowing you to have the opportunity to stop before you feel full, helps the body stay strong. So when we look at personal freedom, we don't hold grudges. We think before we act, and we give gratitude attitude to everything that happens that's positive to us. So personal freedom is living a life according to you without any strings attached. No longer being the puppeteer of the world, no longer being the puppeteer of society, no longer being a puppeteer of those around you. Holding your head high with great confidence and competence that you're living with purpose. Now you say, well, Andrea, okay, so we found our purpose. I identified who I want to be by my own accord. I'm going with the flow, not taking things personally, which attributes to the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, which talks about be impeccable with your word, take nothing personally, don't judge other people, and always do your best. So we look at the ebb and flow of that, okay, there are certain challenges, that wars that don't have to be fought. We have the choice to be happy. All right, if this environment or these people are not helping me and hurting me, I have the choice to remove myself from that environment. With gentle movement is ease, competence, and confidence to move forward. And mindful eating is to say, this is what I aim to do. And if at any point it becomes abundant, I am ready and willing to share with others. Back to you.
Thank you so much. My next question, taking the next step, is like we are all, as you said, the prisoner of our own mindset, and we there are two things in life. One is there is a damage, and another thing is the misery that you attach to that damage or to that loss. Like, I mean, one, like, I mean, your leg is broken, there is a pain. But the
Right.
misery that you attach to it is it's even stronger than that. So,
Yes.
like, we all are in different circles of sabotage.
Mhm.
So are the entrepreneurs, the leaders in all walks of life and fields of life. So, what's the first step towards breaking the cage of and breaking the circle of sabotage, and how to live an abundant life, shifting our mindset from scarcity to abundance?
I love that question. Yes, absolutely. And I believe that that would be first. What I'm still working on is not making the actual circumstance more than it has to be. Allow our emotions to make us aware, but not overpower us. Emotions are messages, they're not our masters. So if we're in a situation, as you've mentioned, of getting physically hurt, losing a job, losing a loved one, face it head on to what is actually happening. This is a transition in my life that is not uncomfortable. Let me gather and address all the emotions I feel, and then strategize a way to cope with those conditions. Notice I didn't say dismiss them. Notice I didn't say suppress them. Notice I didn't say ignore them, but to address them for what they are. To your point, an example of a broken leg. Number one, it's a beautiful thing, and we have to keep reminding ourselves of this as humans. The body heals itself. It needs assistance, but it heals itself. Number two, when we talk about losing someone, that person is physically no longer here. But if we focus, going back to energy flow goes where focus flows, energy flows where focus goes. Let's not misunderstand the opportunity that the emotion is real. If you're angry, allow yourself to be angry. And I know this is going to be difficult for some at this point, but go through it, grow through it. Because what happens in my case, in my book, in my coaching, in my speaking, I talk about this. I just kept suppressing it, suppressing it, suppressing it, suppressing it. I kept dismissing it. I got to help somebody else. I have to have that savory mentality. Whatever, I can't deal with this right now. And what happens, ladies and gentlemen, is those emotions become our masters. And at that time, someone at the wrong time, at the wrong place, will be the victim of those outbursts. So, in doing that, when we are in a situation that is painful, as Zafar had mentioned, we must allow ourselves to take it and see it for what it is, address the issue, title it, and say, I'm angry right now, I'm upset right now, and get all the emotions out. What does that mean? Crying? Does that mean, going to the gym? Does that mean just screaming into a pillow? What does that mean to address it, to diffuse and deflate that energy so you can come back. And it's not going to happen overnight. Some do it with therapy, some do it with music, some do it with exercise. But if you don't face your past will continue to chase you. Back to you.
Thank you so much. The best of the takeaway from this point is like, to not only go through things but grow through.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
the loveliest is, I mean, since being human, the minimum standard is to grow through things.
Yes.
And as I was just looking at that Play 2.0, the
Yes.
SAFE initiative, and I like to put a question, if you allow me. It's
Yes.
about youth and emotional safety. The Play 2.0,
Yes.
with your Play 2.0, or
Mhm.
we say it's Play Safe
Correct.
initiative,
Mhm.
SAFE
Mhm.
initiative.
Yes.
You educate for emotional safe environments for
Right.
students and athletes. Why
Correct.
is emotional wellness the missing link in building high performance future leaders?
Yes, absolutely. So when we look at striving for success, applying our knowledge and failing forward into education and excellence, it is important to get that relationship connection to not only your mind and your actions, but also become resilient, become aware and mindfulness of what it looks like. So, when we talk about the 2.0 of the education of the individuals, don't forget that when we are educators, we have gone through some things, grown through some things, but we have to get back to meeting the individual and the youth of where they are at. What does that look like? And acknowledging their safety is that of finding a safe space, which includes connecting with the individual at their safe space, whether that be talking about what's happening now, what's happening then, and what they would like to see, and striving towards success. And sometimes leaders and educators forget what it was like as humans to be a youth in this day and age. And so when we talk about play safe, is safety is successfully meeting the individual at in their safe space, whether that be their home, their mindset, their school and everything, meeting the students where they're at. A is applying and acknowledging them that it's okay, that what we are going to apply is going to be accentuated with their ability to take accountability and awareness. And then F is to really foster, which is what we spoke about earlier, foster healthy relationships. Foster that connectivity of finding those individuals that empower you and enlighten you and make those connections to erase that mindset of invisibility to become invincible and to educate and empower those individuals. Back to you.
Thank you so much for taking us and walking through the SAFE initiative. And it's
Yes.
not about only safety, but I mean, it's a complete strategy of
Yes.
taking from thinking of scarcity towards abundance, and
Yes.
eventually releasing oneself of being the prisoner of one's own thought. So
Yes.
my next question relates to the same, and it's about transforming ideas into impact. You
Yes.
often work with leaders who have dozens of ideas but
Mhm.
struggle with execution.
Correct.
How do you help high vision individual bringing clarity, sequence, and accountability to their goals?
Excellent question. Everybody has these dreams and goals of being successful and has a checklist of what they achieve. But what happens is they don't execute. Let me give you an example. For those of you watching, including myself, I have had set goals for myself in the past, which looked like some were high achieving goals, others were mediocre goals, and others were daily goals. And it was one thing to have those, but it was also another thing to realize, wait a minute. And this is what has helped me to understand and put into place a little bit more in depth of niching down clarity and everything, because we want to do everything when we really, in reality, achieve nothing. Think about that. How many of you out there have had ideas and dreams and thoughts and plans, but most of them are 5% finished, 10% finished, 60% finished? There's not one that has been completely finished to your expectations. I'll get back to it, or I will get to it another day, or I'm waiting on this person, and so forth. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we look at the opportunity to execute and to take accountability, that is the area that is most prominent. That is embracing the journey of success, not the destination. Because you can say doing a lot of things and be busy, as opposed to taking accountability and ownership and putting a timestamp on a goal and achieving it. I remember Zafar saying he was mocking up the vision of what global abundance organization was looking like. And I was so excited when we had this discussion. He was going to reach this country, this entity, this population. And what we were able to do was see the big picture in awe. However, we had to put the sequential steps into place that were measurable, that were scalable, that were doable to achieve that. So, what does that look like? If you're a visionary like myself, we have whiteboards, we have technology and everything in at the palm of our hand, right? Everybody is educated and uses tactile tools of technology, which is okay, to each his own. But the beauty of it, of this tactic, is writing it down, is having sticky notes, color coordinated, having a schedule with a checklist. So, ladies and gentlemen, the reason I bring this to your attention is because I can't even share with you. I will share with you, actually, just for a moment. These are all notebooks of opportunities that I have in mind. These at my fingertips are journals and journals of my thoughts. And what is the idea of the secret? Thoughts become things. So the opportunity is at your fingertips. Don't worry about how much, the quantity of your ideas, but focus on the quality of your ideas. Take one measurable goal, no matter how big or how small, and put it into action steps. Why? Because you will be like this young man I'm sharing this podcast with, this amazing, abundant individual who has taken action and application to become abundant. Back to you.
Thank you so much. So thought becomes thing is another amazing thing. Like follow your heart, not the herd, not the hurt. So defining true abundance, you your core philosophy reminds people to, within the codes, it's like follow your heart, not the herd, not the hurt. From your perspective, what does living in true personal and professional abundance look like?
Living in true professional abundance looks like being yourself, being okay with yourself, and willing to take that step forward into fear and moving through it into success. Look at the opportunities that we have. Abundance. Abundance. The Secret talks about it. Zafar talks about it. All the principles of gratitude attitude, faith based, abundance. We have to, and I love what you mentioned before, we have to look at the world as being resourceful as opposed to scarcity because it's about that mindset. And I'm actually excited because I am doing another segment tomorrow in Africa about this, about the mindset of magnitude. Because if we look at what we have, sometimes in today's day and age, there are skeptics out there of lack of authenticity. And I am one who has experienced that. Now with all the AI tools, the technology out there. But one of my affiliate coaches said, well, how do you see AI? Honestly. And at first I was fearful, skeptical, nervous about it. And I said, well, if you really think about it, now that you asked, it's a tool. And he said to me, well, okay, if that's your response without hesitation and thought, what do tools do? And I said, they help people. A tool is never going to tell you what to do, he said. The tool is successful and ability to work in the proper hands of the individual holding it or using it. And if we look at that idea and mindset of transformation that you want to live and you're deserving, which you are, of living an abundant life, find those who share that, as I found Zafar and we found each other. Find those individuals who are ready to press play, who have chosen to press play and plan life according to you. Abundance can be found in anything in life. It's kind of like a contagious smile. If you give it to somebody else, they receive it and give it to another, and so forth and so forth, the domino effect. So be infectious with healthy, unconditional love of abundance rather than toxic of selfish and spitefulness. Because that is opening the doors. What you give out, you receive. However, as a former victim of victimhood, do not refuse the gifts and of acceptance. You're worthy of it. You're deserving of it. So if Zafar reaches out to you, if I reach out to you, welcome with open arms. Back to you.
Thank you so much for expanding the concept of abundance and letting us know. Yeah, I mean, thank you so much, lending your eyes, your vision to see us the abundance. How does it look like? Your perspective is and has always been amazing. Thank you so much for gracing the show. Would
Yes.
you like to have a message to the planet?
Yes. The planet on all corners and edges of the earth. Love unconditionally. and live happily. You're worth it and you're deserving of it. You only have one life. And in the words of Greg Plitt, if you live it right, that's all you need. Be blessed. Assalamu alaikum. Blessings to everyone. And blessings to you, Zafar, for being abundant with your greatest gift, which is your presence to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This was Andrea Mason from all the way from USA. And he is my accountability coach, my mentor, my guide, my teacher, and a whole lot to her. Thank you. Thank you so much.